Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. First video of 2025. Thank you for coming back, watching the video. Hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Everything's going well. Today's video, we are going to be designing and modifying a Boba Fett helmet and making it our own. This one, of course, is the one I printed, 3D printed a year or so ago, and painted that up, but I was given a different one. Instead of having two sitting on my dresser, I figured I would take the other one and make it my own. So let's get into it. So this is the Rubio Boba Fett helmet, like 20-30 bucks, given to me by my awesome sister-in-law. Usually just for costumes, and you can see just cheap chipped streaked paint on there. A lot of the stuff was molded in. Started filling in the dent with some Bondo, but it was cracking really bad. Went to filling it in with plastic wood, both the dent and the sensors on the front. I just think Boba Fett's helmet is the only one that needs a dent. And then here's that port that was molded in with the plastic, so I sanded that down and added my own little kind of shaped port to replace it. Removed the rangefinder, filled that in with some more plastic wood, and then added some little greeblies there in between to fill it in and give it a different look. Just some pieces and parts falling out of my pockets from work in the dryer. But then went around the whole helmet, filled in little blemishes here and there that were in the plastic, and then sanded it rough, or not roughly, but lightly, with a I believe 600 grit sandpaper, maybe 800, just to kind of give the paint something to stick to. And then there's some more details there. On the back vent, added some model parts from a World War II tank on there, and just more bits and pieces that had in my pockets from work. But yeah, just went around, like I said, lightly sanded everything, give the base coat something to stick to. And there's some more blemishes there that were in the plastic. They're just divots. Filled those in, and then added on the metal pieces there to act as antennas, and taped off the front mask. Just another overall look of the helmet. Decided not to add any of the emblems and stuff on the earpieces. Just trying to get away from Boba Fett entirely. And here we are with some of the primer on. Just went with a regular primer. It's not a filler primer, which I kind of regret and had to use later on. Just an overall look, everything with the primer on it. And after the primer, went to a chrome base coat. So I planned on doing chipping on it, and kind of ran into this issue with the Boba Fett helmet I did, and just you'll see, I wasn't really happy with it. But here I am Applying the liquid mask, liquid latex mask. It was kind of hardening up a little bit, but it still worked pretty well. Just using a Q-tip brush to apply it. I was trying to do it sparingly, just in some little spots, as I didn't want a whole lot of chipping at first. Just a little bit here and there, as I wanted the face to be the main feature point of the mask, and didn't want any of the shiny chrome kind of out glaring it, I guess you could say. Alright, after putting the mask down, sprayed a black flat coat over that, and then using my airbrush to add some detail. For the striping, kind of wanted to give an ode to Boba Fett, I guess, but in a little bit different way. But just using a yellow and red here to add some striping to the side of it, kind of like on his, but in a different spot, different style, just to put a little nod to Boba Fett, but made it my own. Had to turn down the air pressure on the compressor. It was blowing too hard and streaking the paint. And there it is. It was a little lopsided, but I'll fix that later, and then taped up the rest so I could spray the face. And this is where it all went to shit. Just pulling off the tape, and it just started peeling off all the black. And here's trying to fix it using the airbrush. Cover up those spots because it pulled off way too much more than I wanted, and it was in straight lines from the tape. It didn't look right. So I was just trying to fix it. And kind of made this mistake later on too. Again, while trying to do the faceplate part. I'll go into that in a minute. But yeah, just using the airbrush to cover up too much of those straight lines and too much of the chrome showing through. I do have to say, the technique I used this time, the chrome came out more than when I did the Boba Fett helmet. There's still way more chipping damage than I wanted to start with, but I was trying to make it a little bit better than it was after pulling off the tape. Looking it over, going back through, just trying to decrease the amount of chrome that was showing, fill in the black. So here's the progress so far. I like it, but I'm not happy with it. So I was trying to do the original weathering textures of layering the paint and then chipping it, but I didn't want a whole bunch of battle damage, and I kind of think I've gone to where I want to make it clean, nice and full with no battle damage. But during the process of doing that, I laid down the chrome, which I had done before on my Boba Fett helmet that I 3D printed, and used the latex masking on it. And when I pulled it off, it took off most of the shine from that chrome. So I don't know if it was the paint quality or what. So I was gonna do it again on this one and used a clear coat after I put down the chrome, and you can kind of see the shine there, but it also messed up the preceding layer of black where it didn't stick to that gloss coat very well. We have the cracking here. I do like that marbling texture, but it's not consistent, and was cracking a lot more showing the chrome underneath, but it still didn't work out completely all the way. As you can see there, that's some rub and buff, but it did take off a lot of that shine. And when I had masked off the flat black to do the gloss on the faceplate part, pulled the tape off, as you can see, and when it pulled the tape off, really pulled off a lot more of the black than I really wanted, because I only wanted to do a few spots of damage where there wasn't a whole lot. But I think I've changed my mind on that and want to do a completely clean, full paint with no battle damage on it. But I mean, it came out okay. As you can see, when the paint pulled off too much and it left straight lines. So I went back with the airbrush and tried to fill those in, but the two blacks didn't match up a whole lot. And then you can also see a lot of the texture there from the different paints, which is kind of cool if you're wanting to go for that really damaged battle look. But I'm just not feeling it, and so thinking, unfortunately, want to redo it. But yeah, you can see where some spots it took off that shininess of the chrome, and then a lot of cracking and unevenness where the paint, I guess, ran down, wasn't sticking to the gloss, and then just a lot of cracking even on the faceplate, especially, yeah, like right here, it just wasn't sticking and exposing the chrome underneath. So I do like it. It's just not what I was going for, I think, and unfortunately gonna have to start over. So a couple hours of sanding, but with the magic of YouTube, will be instant for you. So starting back over from scratch, sanded it down with some 100 grit, then went to 180 and then 220. Just trying to get all that paint off. Sorry that took so long, but so sanded it down, started with 100 grit, then went to 180, and then 220. Did a couple of layers of regular primer and just kept getting cracking for some reason. And so went and got some filler primer, did a couple of coats of that, and it was still cracking in some areas. And so I filled it in. It's mainly around the earpieces, a little bit right there, and big issue here on the cheek. I don't know why. And possibly, maybe because it's the middle of the winter and I'm having to do this in the garage, maybe the cold. I don't know. So the filler primer wasn't completely filling it in, so went with some drywall compound and filled them in. Had some micro cracks back here. Just went ahead and filled all that in. Back around these edges here. But yeah, the main issue was that cheek there and the right earpiece. So after using the force to do all that, going to rely on some magic and hope another round of filler primer fills all that in. We will see. So got it primed and then put on another black base coat, repainted the greeblies about the same, just to add some color to it, and then decided to put another chrome on just the face plate to accentuate the color I was going to put on it, but that didn't work out and had to redo the face plate again. But here you can see it primed and ready to go before I put the chrome on. So I've learned I am not doing a chrome base coat anymore. I think I'll just try a silver next time. That chrome just does not let anything stick to it. And then just repainted all the details and the striping. And here's just a little sneak peek of the detailing for the face. Well, there it is. Hope you like it. I think it's pretty badass, but let's take a closer look at it and all the features. So here it is. I guess start off with the mandibles, EVA foam. Just glued that on, cut those out, painted them white, cut them down, heat shrunk them with a little bit of heat to treat it, seal it up, and then also put some Mod Podge on there. Covered it, made it a little easier to paint. But that's the only 3D parts of the Mythosaur on there. The rest of it's just painted. And used just stencils cut out from masking tape and put that on. Used the airbrush, painted it on. The visor part, instead of going with the glass, I opted for the mesh. It's just screen, like window screen mesh that I got at Home Depot, and went with this option. One, so I could paint it and not obscure the view from wearing it. And that's also why I didn't go with 3D pieces inside of the mesh. That way with the paint you can still see through it, but it still has the shape on the outside. Alright, all the greeblies, like the port hook up here, underneath the earpiece, inside the earpiece, just circuit boards and pieces of junk from work that I find in the dryer from my pockets. And also on the back, definitely wanted to put a little bit of color, and I thought these were good spots to do it. The back vent here was all solid, and I cut those slits out. Just use a Dremel wheel and cut slits into it with that. And then on the inside, added some mesh for a little bit of ventilation there. I gotta clean all that out. Don't look at that part. And then the striping on the side, kind of want to emulate a little bit of the Boba Fett striping there. So that's why I did put that there on the side. That used a piece of a pipe clamp and just cut it down. Put tape on it so it didn't scratch up the base paint. And just airbrushed the pattern on there. And then on this earpiece, just use a couple of pieces to make like antennas for communications on the right, and that way they were kind of somewhat at the same level instead of having the antennas on this one and making it higher. That way they're somewhat level there, as you can see. And then the paints on the visor part, I used Rust-Oleum chrome, black chrome. I like how it turned out. Was it worth the $20? Nah, I'm still up on the air on that. But it's nice and smooth, little black color to it, and in some of the lighting will turn silver or grayish. And then the main body of the helmet, just used bare hammered black gloss, and never used bare spray paint before. Used their can paints for walls and stuff. Knew it was pretty thick, so wasn't sure about this one, but I liked how it turned out, and it sprayed really well. Gave the nice detailing that it shows on the cap. But I like that. I liked how that came out. And then the earpieces and the back vent are just matte black, and cover those with a matte gloss. Did the cheeks and the hammered also, the bottom part of the cheek and the hammered, but the rest of the visor. And around on the back, down here and here's that black chrome. And also on the mouthpiece part here, because of course the original, the Rubies, it was a clear glass, plastic, whatever, visor in there, and definitely didn't want to leave it clear. So that's why, I went with the mesh to help cover it up, get rid of that clear. And also notice when also wearing my Boba Fett helmet, breathing, you know, kind of important thing to do, would fog up the glass. So did this, what I did is, I should have took a picture of it, I forgot to, but I cut a hole in the plastic right here, kind of outlined the inside of the mandibles, and so that's just mesh there. It's completely one way through. You might be able to see it through the back. Here we go. But yeah, I cut a hole in there and then covered the inside of the bottom part with some more mesh. Let's see if it'll focus. But that way it's easier to breathe and it doesn't fog up. And as you can see pretty well out of the mesh.
Camera doesn't really do it justice, but there you go. But yeah, you can see pretty well out of there. But yeah, that also was a nice feature I thought of doing after I decided to do the mesh. That way it wouldn't fog up and make it easier to airflow and breathe and not feel so stuffy while wearing it. So yeah, that is it. I think it looks good. Let me know your comments, thoughts, any ideas, suggestions, and like and subscribe. Leave some comments. Let me know, and can't wait to see you on the next one. Thanks.